Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Iron Trials 84. I'm sure most of you are aware already, but for those who aren't, Iron Trials is a limited time mode in Warzone that aims to be the most competitive form of the game, featuring a lot of significant changes including stronger ground loot, increased prices at the buy stations, no free loadouts, and a substantially longer time to kill, along with some other details. All of this adds up to a mode that eliminates most of the things that level the playing field in the regular Battle Royale mode, and here the skill gap is much more apparent between the lower skilled players and the higher skilled players. Just like many other creators, I really love this mode. I think it's nearly perfect, and it really is what I wish Warzone would have been from the beginning. This kind of mode makes me hopeful for what the game will be like moving forward, and even though Iron Trials is only a limited time mode, I think it will return in some form to be the ranked play that everyone has been asking for a long time. But all this talk about Iron Trials has really made me think about what could be brought from this mode to the regular BR to make it a little bit less frustrating to play. And I have a few things that I think could easily come over from Iron Trials and make the regular mode much more fun for all skill level players. By the way, if you're interested in the loadout I'm running for Iron Trials, it's just the C58 and the MAC-10 with their meta builds. I'll throw those up on the screen if you're interested. I'd probably actually go for the Cold War MP5 instead of the MAC-10 in the future. The MAC-10 doesn't really kill very quickly, it doesn't have very much damage per mag, so something like the MP5 with a little more punch is probably better. I'm also running stims. They're really useful to counter the delayed health regeneration, especially since your base health is so high in Iron Trials, it's more important than your plates. And with that, let's move on to talking about a few of the things that I think would be great to bring over to the regular Battle Royale mode. First and foremost, I think the better floor loot is one of the biggest things that I would love to see. I get so sick of picking up the Hauer pump action shotgun or the single shot Tech 9. Just a lot of these guns that are not fun to use. Sometimes the M60 with the thermal scope that we have right now in Season 5, it's terrible. And I'd love to see some of these more meta-ish builds of guns show up in floor loot in the regular modes. I think it would really help too to not feel so useless if you don't have your loadout in your hands, so you have some kind of hope to compete with another team that does have loadouts. As it stands now in the regular BR mode, if you don't have your loadout and another team does, you are very likely going to lose that fight unless you are significantly better than them. And kind of going off of this better loadouts thing, the setups in the Gulag are also so much better. I get sick of the crossbows, the fist fighting. I don't know if the fist fighting's still a thing, but I used to hate it. Akimbo pistols, things like that. I really hate it in the Gulag. I think it's not very fun. It's not very good for competitive integrity. I know the regular Battle Royale mode is supposed to be a little more casual, but even those silly things I don't think are fun. They're just frustrating to play and play against. And I would like the Gulag to be a little bit more of an even challenge, especially things like the ballistic knife and fist fights are just really who has the better ping. So I'd like to eliminate that kind of thing. And one of the great things in Iron Trials is that you spawn from the Gulag if you win with the gun that you had in the Gulag. And this is a great idea. I wish that this was the case in the regular mode. I really don't like when I spawn from the Gulag in the mid to late game that I'm just coming back with the regular pistol and my fists. I'm completely useless. If one of my teammates is going into a fight, or say I'm playing quads and my team gets into a 3v4 situation while I'm still in the sky, I can't really drop down and help them. But if I had, say, a Krig or a C58 or an AK from the Gulag, I could drop down and try to get into the fight right away. We'd still be at a disadvantage because I wouldn't be fully plated, I wouldn't have a loadout weapon, but I can at least provide some support. And I think that this is a change that could very easily come to the regular Battle Royale mode. And to provide some balance to it, we could have the guns in the Gulag change depending on what point of the game we're in. So in the beginning, if you died right off the drop, maybe the Gulag is just a pistol so that you would still drop with just the pistol. If you died in the mid game, maybe then it is like a semi-okay build of the FFAR or something. If you die in the late game, maybe it's like a fully decked out build of a more meta weapon like the AK-47. Going from there, I think the higher base health of Iron Trials is what really makes things great. Longer time to kill in general is something I'd love to see, and the higher base health puts less of an emphasis on plates. As it stands now, if you don't have plates on, you're useless, and I'd like to see the base health be bumped up a little bit in the regular Warzone mode. Another quick thing is dead silence shows up way too often. I'd love to see that reduced to the limits of stopping power. I don't think they'd ever completely remove stopping power or dead silence. I wish they would, but they won't. So at the very least, I'd like to see dead silence reduced to the same very rare rate that we see stopping power dropped. And finally, one of the things I didn't think I'd like, but I really do, is that in Iron Trials, there is a range limit on one-hit downs from sniper rifles. As it stands right now in Iron Trials, it's only 30 meters, which obviously means you'd have to get really up close to one shot down somebody with a sniper rifle in the Iron Trials mode. I don't think it should be that close, obviously. I do think sniping and being a bit more defensive is a very viable playstyle. So maybe we could up that limit to, say, 100, maybe even 150 meters. But it could be something that could remove some of the annoying, 300, 400 meter headshot snipes, cross-map headshot snipes, and could actually be a soft way to help counter cheaters. A lot of the time when I get headshot sniped by a cheater, they're like 500 meters away, and they just like quick scope me with a car or something like that. So this could be a nice little way to help counter that. And it promotes a little bit more movement and getting close to fight, since you can't just camp on a building and shoot people from 400 meters away. But those are my main thoughts on the Iron Trials mode, and some of the things that I believe could be brought into the regular Battle Royale. As it stands, I am a bit, tired of the regular Battle Royale. Some of the cheesiness of it kind of gets to me. The mounting here really threw me off. That was a bit frustrating. Some of the cheesiness really gets to me. Things like the stun grenades too could maybe be dropped down a bit. That's another part of Iron Trials that is pretty cool. Stun grenades are not quite as effective. Heartbeat sensors is another thing I just thought of right now. Have a much more limited range in Iron Trials, and that's pretty cool. That would be something that could also come to the regular BR that I think would be great. I've seen a lot of people suggest that maybe the heartbeat sensor have a battery associated with it, so you can only use it a limited amount of times. I think that's a pretty cool idea, but the limited range I think is also a pretty good one as well. But I want to hear all of your thoughts as well. What do you think could happen to the regular Warzone modes going forward? What were your favorite parts about Iron Trials? If you liked it at all, did you have many opportunities to play it? I didn't get to play it all that often. I don't really have anyone that just plays duos. I typically play trios and quads, so I would love to see trios and quads modes of this. At the very least, trios, quads might be a little too hectic. But in the future, I'd love to see this expanded a bit more. And like I said, I think this will become the ranked mode in some way. We do have Vanguard coming up, and it's gonna essentially be a clean slate. I expect to see tons of sweeping changes to Warzone once the Vanguard integration drops. It's just, like I said, a clean slate, completely new opportunity to do things right this time. I think Raven and Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, all of them have learned a lot from this first year and a half or so of Warzone. And now that Vanguard's on the same engine, we're gonna have a much cleaner integration, and I have a lot of optimism moving forward with Warzone. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, feel free to drop a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike so I know I need to change something. Subscribe if you're new, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.